Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Where we continue to follow the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden now.
Those are just some of the scenes overnight as thousands of Americans gathered in celebration of Osama bin Laden's death.
Former Navy SEAL Rob ONeal says he has thought about the mission every day since that May Day in 2011.
For multiple conversations you had with Rob ONeal over the past year and a half, how'd you get
access? And you described that his head kind of exploded when you hit him.
I actually hit him 3 times because I shot him twice when he was standing and once on the ground.
That is the fucking American badass right there.
Go, go, go. We are not going for fame and we are not going for bravado. We are going for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday morning, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I'm Rob ONeal, and this is the Operator Podcast. Wednesday, October 25th. Thank you for being with me on the Operator Podcast. I just got back from a couple different trips around the country. Weather's changing. It's nice to see people. Back in airports, which is always a hoot. I went to Florida a couple times, I think. Texas, maybe. California. I went to Defiance, Ohio, which is cool. And then I also went to Decorah, Iowa, hitting some of them flyover states. I'm not sure if Ohio is. I know it's a swing state, but Iowa is. And the caucus is coming up there. So that was fun, seeing some of the stuff. You may have seen me post a picture of, there was a Donald Trump pro-Republican store in the middle of Decorah, Iowa, which has a college there, so there's some liberals there. It was nice though, because Iowa was cool, and even the college leftists, not even so much leftists that I ran into, I guess liberals, college age people, they were actually even respectful. I went into, I posted a picture, it's on my Instagram at McCouya, a picture, I just saw it, I saw the Israeli flag, and I saw something about Donald Trump and other stuff, and there's like, do you miss mean tweets and world peace? And the world peace sign was not necessarily a world peace sign, it was like a Mercedes-Benz sign, but I took a picture in front of it saying flyover states too. And, obviously I like to answer questions and queries on Instagram, and people were making fun of me. It's not a peace sign, it's a Mercedes sign. I'm like, yeah, it's my first time in Decorah, Iowa. It's not my store. I just took a picture in front of it and whatnot. I thought it was kind of, seeing how people were. The dude, I went inside, talked to the dude, and he said that he does get the occasional F Trump people walking by and pounding the doors, flipping them off, which comes with anything political, either side. It hasn't been burned down yet due to a peaceful protest, so you're doing something right, apparently. But traveling around was fun. I want to talk about some airports and things like that. It was good to get back there. We're doing this today because I mentioned yesterday that I wanted to answer some questions. Again, I have my notes, but we're not going to follow them. I wrote down some questions. Thanks for submitting them to me. Most people have been pretty cool, and I appreciate that. I'm on a positive journey now, trying to be. It's hard to be. I finished my training in Mexico doing the Ibogaine stuff, the psychedelic things. And I do want to talk about that. It's another time and place, because the day after, or the day before, actually, I was leaving, there was the massacre in Israel, which is not ideal for trying to get over post-traumatic stress and things like that. We'll talk about that a little bit too. But I mentioned, I do want to talk about that, and I'll do it in a future episode. Very, very important to understand the psychedelics and to do psychedelics the right way. It's very good. You can pretty much cure anything with psychedelics. Mine's for PTSD and addiction, and a lot of Ibogaine was used for addiction and then PTSD stuff. And there's other things like there, ayahuasca and DMT, Reiki, which is really cool too. I want to talk about that in a future episode. I'm curious to see what you think about that. Speaking of psychedelics too, see that dude on Alaska Airlines? Was on a plane, and then he's a pilot, I guess. He was in the jump seat in the cockpit, and he thought it would be a good idea to pull, I guess not necessarily, I don't know if there's a fire alarm or some sort of something you pull for a fire, and it automatically shuts down the engines, I guess. because if an engine's on fire, you want to shut it down. He wanted to shut down all of them. He's being charged now with several counts of attempted murder, which is never a good thing. Pilot, but he said that he had picked up some magic mushrooms and took them for the first time, and then he was a passenger. And he said he thought he was dreaming on the mushrooms, and the only way out of the dream was to pull the fire thing. You know, he was in and around Seattle, in and around Oakland, and I guess you could find psychedelics pretty easily. I'm not by any means advocating to treat your addiction by buying controlled substances or whatnot on the streets of Seattle. You're probably going to find some harsh shit, especially with the fentanyl hoo-yah-hey and how dangerous that can be. I highly unrecommend doing that and getting into a cockpit. But he's in a lot of trouble. He said it was the first time he tried them. The psychedelics that I like are administered by medical people. You're not going to find Ibogaine in the States because it can cure stuff. I've heard it does everything from cleaning up your gray matter in your brain. It helps with infertility. I think it's probably from the tree of life that was mentioned in so many biblical times. But we can't have it here because the government, who notoriously makes great decisions nonstop, you've seen them, you've heard, you've seen pictures, watched videos. They say it's a club drug. I will tell you this about Ibogaine. It's not a club drug. Ibogaine is not a club drug. I would not wish on anybody to take Ibogaine and go to a club because it's horrifying laying down. It's a trip, but it's good and it helps. But don't take that for a club, and then don't take mushrooms before you get into the cockpit of a plane. Me not being a pilot, I'm not trying to judge, but that's what I think, and don't do that. But we don't have it here because it works, and the government doesn't want anything that works for you. They want there's no money in the cure. There's money in the treatment. There's money in fear. And it works. We're again, not the episode. I'm doing this because I thought it would be good to get out. The positivity comes from after the treatment. That's where I'm at, and I'm doing my best to put myself in other people's shoes. Everyone's their own vessel. Everyone has something going on in their lives that you don't see sometimes, too. I tell people when I talk about leading teams, something that the two things that breed, that are contagious, are panic but calm. Also, if you're a leader and you're panicking, or if you're a person and you're panicking, again, I was in an airport, so I saw a lot of this. Airports are just dope. Best way to see people's in airports because everyone's doing their own thing. Everyone's got stuff going on, and you don't know necessarily what it is. So take a breath, try to be patient, see where they're coming from. People in airports are generally scared, believe it or not, especially if you're about to get on a plane with a pilot that took some shrooms. But everyone's in their own vessel. Everyone has a bad day, but panic is contagious, but calm is also contagious. Nobody can tell what you're feeling, and you need to realize that about other people. Nobody can tell what you're feeling. You don't know what they're feeling. But if you can portray calm, then you will have your people around you be calm. So that's a little bit of a spiel there. I did this today because I wanted to take questions on @McHooyah, and that's my Instagram. That is, however, restricted. I said something once, if you can imagine, and someone with, I'm assuming, had not their natural hair color at the powers that be restricted me, so I can't do a lot of stuff, and it's not seeing a lot of my audiences. I would ask you to go check out @TheOperator Podcast. That one is a great one too. We try not to get political on that. I'm hopefully not gonna do stuff that gets that one restricted, but that's there too. And I'm taking questions, which will be fun. Wrote down a lot of them, and thanks for doing that because, like I mentioned at the Operator Podcast, that's what we do here. I tell you what I think as an operator, as a former special operator and a current operator of whatever in the hell it is I do for a living. And I want you to tell me what you think. And I mean everything too. I love hearing from blue-collar dudes and white-collar dudes, men and women both. I like to hear from college-age students. I've been a college-age student. I have been a college-age student. Went to college a little bit. I think I have a whopping 12 to 13 credits from Montana Tech in Butte, Montana. I actually have the transcripts. I know where they are. So that's cool. But I want to hear from people of that age too, because I think it's more important to understand from where people are coming, what their thoughts are and why. and not just screaming at people. So I love to hear from family members and or people. I actually talked to some high school kids yesterday because I want to get the vibe of what people think. People think different things, and I would rather have a conversation. I think that's a better way than blindly screaming at each other because you know you're right. You're not right. Nobody's right all the time. Something's in the middle. Getting into the middle will help almost anywhere except Washington, D.C., because they can't do that. We'll get into some D.C. stuff as well. The only thing they're good at is giving themselves raises. That's good. But I did take the questions, and I want to answer those. I'm going to talk a little bit about my time in Iowa because it was really, really cool, middle of the country. What are we all thinking? I even had some questions from some of my liberal friends, and there's a difference now between liberals and leftists and Marxists. Liberals everyone thinks they have their right ideas, and the liberals, the classic liberals, are not necessarily the violent ones. They are wrong a lot, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm right a lot, but I might be wrong, but I think I'm right because I'm me, and you think you're right because you're you. But that's the questions have been fun. A couple that I needed to just delete because it's like, here's the thing. You say what you want. I have pretty thick skin. I've heard it all. I dare you right now to get on at the Operator Podcast and ask me something I've never heard. I think I've heard everything, and it's the dialogue's fun. My advice though is, if you're the dude that you leave your cubicle at the office and you walk over to the coffee machine. Hopefully you have a good machine. I got a great espresso machine that, like, I'm looking forward to getting up in the morning. I like to get up really early. And before a workout or before meditation or whatever prayer or whatever I do, power prayer, I like to hit the espresso machine. Warpath Coffee, I look forward to it. They got the flavored stuff. Right now, my jam is the dark chocolate coffee. But I like to go down there and get the espresso, start the day with. I'm not going to BS either. Sometimes in the morning, instead of a coffee, like, what's that drink, the black eye, where you put espresso on top of a coffee, which is delicious. I like the stronger coffee, but I like to get like 4 espressos on top of each other. I've been made fun of because I do like a little foof, a little creamer on there, hazelnut, French vanilla, even some artificial sweetener with some cream, if you will. I dig it. I also like black coffee. If I make some of the flavored ones like maple bacon, which is out there from Warpath Coffee, doesn't need anything, and make a French press, drink that shit black. One of my favorite lines, and this is not mine, but it's too funny, is I like my coffee like I like my women, without some other dude's dick in it. But yeah, I like to start with the coffee. What the point I was making is, if you're reading the comments, and I love the interaction. That's the whole point of this podcast. And I have a few days, weeks, or whatever off. And I'm going to do more. If you want more, too. It doesn't need to be Wednesday or Friday. I can do them every day. We can do, because I know a lot of people listen to these on the treadmill or working out or on the drive, and like a 45-minute is ideal. I've been doing an hour lately. Some guys do long ones, and people listen to them because you can stop and record, but I'll try to keep it short. But the point I'm making, after reading the comments, keep them coming at the Operator Podcast on Insta or at McHuya on anywhere you can find. I will read those, but that's where I run into a lot of people who don't like to play nice. But give me your comments on anything. We're going to talk about that stuff. Hopefully today we'll get into it. But if you're the dude that goes to that coffee machine at your office after you leave your cubicle, and everyone that's already hanging out talking leaves because you're there, you might not be the funny guy. You might not be as funny as you think, or something like that. Maybe you are. Who knows? But little things to realize are, and I know from experience, I'm going to break this down to you right now. You might, if you're listening, this is for the people who are listening, not for the people who are watching me right now. But I'm going to tell you something about me you might not know. I have white eyebrows. And I'm a ginger. I have pale skin. So, having said that, I know my eyebrows are white. And I know that if I go outside, I need sunscreen. And because of the ginger tendencies of that, the gingerivity that I have, mosquitoes like me. So do biting bugs of all kinds. I went to Bimini to dive with all kinds of apex predators, tiger sharks, great hammerheads, lemons, even the reefs. I mean, a shark's an apex predator. I went down there, did some interviews outside. I thought it'd be a quick interview, which it was outside. The sun was going down, but I already had sunscreen on. But I didn't put on bug spray, which I need. The point I'm getting at is I know my eyebrows are white and I know I need sunscreen. If you're the dude that comes up to someone, hey man, you should put on some sunscreen. You're hilarious and I've heard it, man. You know, it's like when you see the science fair. What did Brian Regan say? He's a great comedian, by the way. Man, he did a bit on golf that I put on my story. It's amazing. He said something. I'm talking Brian Regan back in the 80s. I was watching him. His stand-up comedy is incredible. He said, like, when you go into your science fair and there's that kid there with the styrofoam balls and the wire hangers to make the solar system, the way he says, oh, you're breaking new ground there, Copernicus. That's his joke. But the point is, if someone's got a name, remember Julia Gulia from The Waterboy? Or someone's got a name. I worked with a dude named Goulet. And the Robert Goulet skit that Will Ferrell did on SNL is hilarious. However, his name was Goulet. Guess what? He's heard it. He's heard that joke. You're not breaking new ground, Copernicus. So don't, if you're not funny, just put a joke book in your pocket, especially if you're a fat chick. You gotta have personality coming out. Again, that's not my joke either. That's Rodney Carrington's. I'm trying to give credit where it's due. I don't want to be a plagiarizer like our president was or is. Whatever. But it's fun that there's some good questions. I had to take a few down just because it's not. I mean, I want to respond to you, and God damn, I want you to be funny. And I shouldn't say that either. That's blasphemy. I probably lost some listeners right there. Sorry about that. Sorry, Mom and Grandma. Both grandmas. But it'll be fun to get that in today because we're on the verge of some stuff going on because of a lot of different things we can talk about. Hell, I might be doing podcasts all week here because there's so much to cover and I don't want to take up all your time. So I won't. But getting close to what's happening in the world and with the Middle East, the stuff in Israel, we mentioned Iran, all the other proxy wars going on. It is clear that the unthinkable is here, and it could be spreading. I think it is spreading with recent media distractions. Most of us never saw it coming. But some did. Their guts told them something was wrong, and the headlines are proving them right. Just look around. And our so-called trusted institutions tell you not to worry, that everything's fine. You should know better. It's like a house is on fire. Everything is not fine. It might be time to leave. Self-reliance doesn't happen overnight, and you need to start somewhere. So you should start with my friends at My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply, the country's largest preparedness company, is more than equipped to stock your shelves. Ditch the canned vegetables and the box pasta. Their best-selling 3-month food kit provides delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners, snacks, and they last up to 25 years. I have them. I've purchased them for my family all over the country. 25 years worth. These meals offer over 2,000 calories every single day with a balance of protein and carbs to keep you fed and ready in the event of an emergency. All you need to do is add water and then heat it and then eat it. Start or strengthen your food supply, your emergency food supply, with a 3-month food kit from My Patriot Supply. Here's how you get it. Go to preparewithrob.com. Preparewithrob.com to get ready. Order now for fast and free shipping. Go check out preparewithrob.com. But yeah, episode 66. It's good to be back. It's good to be a Wednesday. The sun's out where I am. I hope it is where you too, because that's positivity, baby. I loved the questions, read through all of them. I went downstairs and had my coffee, like I mentioned before, and I realized I was out of eggs. I did the crock pot thing. Love the crock pot. If you don't have a crock pot, get a crock pot. It's delightful. You can, it's the ultimate lazy person's instrument, because you can buy the stuff and then for our marked up prices because of inflation. But you put everything, including raw chicken, in there, covered up, turn it on. 4 to 6 hours high, 7-8 hours low, whatever. You got a great meal. But I went down there to get what the hell? Coffee, crock pot, all that stuff, and I'm out of eggs. Didn't have eggs, so I wanted to get a little snack in today, so I got some nuts. I love to eat these nuts. There's something about a jar, not a can, like a jar of nuts, the salted nuts. I dig them. Went down to do that. looking through a few things. I'm reading through the questions. Someone asked me if they could call in too. I'm not able to do that yet. I'll figure it out. I also want to get a bigger studio where I can do face-to-face interviews. And that'll be fun because I do have a lot of people that I want to interview. Several I have interviewed. I want repeat business. I want to get my brother Tom ONeal back on here. But I want a bigger studio. Like the one I'm in right now, we could probably fit 2 people, but just, with the guitars behind me and then the body armor. And there's stuff underneath the body armor you can't see. I was asked that question too. What did you keep from the Navy that you love? A lot of it's right there. Kept the body armor. The gun I used was dismantled, which is stupid because they dismantled it, probably took parts out of it, gave it to different people. The gun that killed Bin Laden, I had it. Gave it to a gunner's mate that I know really well, EJ, down at the command. He let me keep the firing pin. I have the firing pin from the gun that killed Bin Laden. Isn't that dope? I actually used that firing pin again. I think, did I use that same firing pin? Maybe, maybe not. Whatever. It did go with me. Got that. Got a couple things. We'll talk. That'll be another episode if you want to hear what I have. Not necessarily spoils of war. That always piqued my curiosity as well. I'm saying if we kept anything from the Bin Laden raid, what do you need to? Because like everything that you take overseas, you need to register. For war trophies, but that wasn't a war mission. We went into Pakistan for that bad boy. We're not at war with Pakistan. I wonder if we kept anything, if we could keep it. Huh. Let me look that up. I want to talk about that too. What do you think? If we went to Pakistan because it was technically a civilian mission with one of those plausible deniability things, the different titles that you can do as far as are you working for the military? Are you working for certain agencies? Stuff like that. But we have that. So, I may or may not have that, but I have that. What else? Some of the stuff too I've been being asked that's very interesting is like cool people that I've met. Who's some cool people that you met that you didn't think you would like, but you do? That's a good question too. I bring that up because, again, with the being in someone else's shoes, everyone's their own vessel. A lot of people don't realize, I'm bringing this up for a reason, that people in the public eye are people as well. I know if you dig deep enough on the web, that apparently a lot of actresses who are getting older and they take a picture of, there's a picture taken of them. They're like, what's up with this actress? Oh, obviously been a man the whole time, but we've been fooled because she's a lizard. I'm not making that up. I read an article today. I'm not going to say who, but these are like some very talented, beautiful women in Hollywood, and people like us have to call them lizard people because that makes sense. The flat earthers and shit like that. But they're people and they have different opinions. And like I've mentioned countless times, people are a lot different when you meet them in person. And I've met some celebrities too that we disagree on some things, but we get along in person. That's something else too, to give people a chance. If we gave people a chance, a lot of times stuff might just work. A chance, even to hear their argument. Like nothing. A lot of things piss me off, but something that upsets me that I hate, I've seen in person, I won't even partake, is when people are talking in interviews on television. You might have seen it recently with Hillary Clinton getting yelled at by the anti-war guy, which is a great thing too, because she's not used to it. She's not used to getting yelled at by anti-war because she's the anti-war. And she's the anti a lot of things, if you know what I'm saying, speaking of end times. But yeah, she's getting yelled at. And they're just yelling over at each other or talking heads. People are on TV a lot. People on TV that ask the question and they answer their own question. They keep yap, 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 and then they interrupt. Just stop interrupting, man. Give someone a chance to talk. If I've been on TV where someone interrupts me, I'll just stop. Fine, you talk. But apparently you don't need to hear from me. You talk. Your show's amazing. But that's that. But I bring it up because this again starts issues. There's a list of celebrities who signed some paperwork that demand Joe Biden call for a ceasefire in Gaza. And these are famous people: Joaquin Phoenix, Kate Blanchett, Jon Stewart, Kristen Allen, Susan Sarandon. A list of celebrities, which are fun. I haven't met most of those. Jon Stewart strikes me as someone who's really smart and really cares. I've seen a lot of stuff with him from the 9/11 stuff and the families that have been hurt, first responders. He seems like a great dude. Very funny, obviously. Like the original Daily Show was incredible, and he's awesome. He's been funny in everything, so I've never met him. I'd like to. He signed it fine. Kate Blanchett, I heard an awesome Kate Blanchett story once. My buddy Mickey Berra, who is part of the famous Yogi Berra family, and we'll talk about that more too. I think I'm a born again Yankees fan. Yet another story. My wife is from Boston, so we'll talk about that later. Not enough time here today, but Mickey Berra used to run the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts in Washington, D.C., and we've heard about that place. A lot of fundraisers go there. A lot of libs go there. A ton of politicians. But someone asked me, cool people that you've met. Mickey Berra is one of the coolest people I've ever met. He ran the Kennedy Center for a number of years. I got to reach out to him and get him talk about a great interview. Shit, I'll go down there to see him. I miss that dude. We've done everything. We've gone to Redskins games together when they were the Redskins back when I gave a shit about pro football, the NFL. But he told me a story about Kate Blanchett running the Kennedy Center. And again, this is his story, not mine. I'm trying to give credit to people who tell the stories. If I repeat a punchline and it was someone else's, I'll try to give him credit. If it's not mine, it's not mine. If there were war stories where I wasn't there, I'll tell you, wasn't there, but here's my thoughts. But Mickey Barrett told me a story that they were running the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts. And that's great. That's a great place, too, to go check out. You can get tours of that place even if there's nothing going on. I think I saw Louis C.K. there once. Hilarious in person, too. Another great story. I never met. I think that guy's hilarious, too. I mentioned, too, on the comedy shows, if you're so high-strung and offended by everything, comedy might not be the thing for you because you're supposed to be offended. And the irony with the punchline, another story. A lot of comedians went down during the hashtag Me Too, hashtag woke, hashtag don't say anything because you'll offend me. And if you don't know I'm offended, I'm going to scream it at you because I'm offended. But he told me a story about Kate Blanchett, who was on the list of people who want a ceasefire in Gaza. We'll get into why I think the ceasefire isn't quite that simple. I'm not going to be able to solve it in this episode because they haven't solved it since, I don't know, Abraham. Anyway, Kate Blanchett, I guess they were doing the opening night for a play she was doing there. By the way, Mickey Barrett backstage has hit, there's video I'm going to find. It's got to be a 50-footer hook shot. They had a hoop backstage, a 10-foot hoop regulation, and Mickey Barrett could hit this hook shot. Amazing. I'll get that video and I'll put it on, I'll try to find it. I'll put it on at the Operator Podcast. Follow that one because Mikuya is getting restricted. Anyway, Mickey told me a story. Wonderful man, one of the coolest people I've ever met. He said they couldn't find her. And the crowd's there. They've done all the warm-ups or whatever actors and actresses do. And Kate Blanchett's one of the best in the business. And they couldn't find her. The shit's about to open. Everyone's freaking out. Where's Miss Blanchett? And I guess she walked up right before the curtain went up. And I think she had a cigarette just a couple years ago. Took a puff and just looked around at everyone and said, all right, let's not fuck this up then, shall we? Yes, we shan't. But yeah, so anyway, celebrities, I don't know a lot of them. They seem cool. I think their hearts are in the right place. Are they doing it right? Who knows? But even though the best intentions, though, you're not necessarily, the ceasefire can't happen because of how horrific the attacks were on innocent people in Israel. And as time goes on, I've seen the interviews too, and even the savages that took these towns, even they're realizing how bad it was. Even they're admitting that, according to the Quran, you can't kill babies, you shouldn't rape women, and you can't kill elderly, especially women, which they did. They did atrocities that I don't feel like getting into right now. You can find that stuff out there, just horrific stuff. Killing families, just basically your worst nightmare. Your worst nightmare. Think of the worst thing that could happen to you happen to these people in real time right now. GoPros and internet and cell phone. I mean, mutilating people and then live streaming it on their internet, on their social media. And the stuff and of course now they're saying they were tricked, they being Hamas, tricked by their leadership and they were all on cocaine or some bullshit. And you need to respond to this. Israel needs to respond to this and Hamas needs to be wiped out. It's that simple. And a ceasefire is ridiculous. Imagine a ceasefire after 9/11. Imagine going to Midtown Manhattan, talking to any of the FDNY families or the people who were in the towers, the people on the planes. Talk to anyone at Cantor Fitzgerald, even today. Talk to anyone basically in New York that was there. Well, not anyone. Not Columbia University, those fucking people. Those fucking professors. But a ceasefire on September 12th, not going to happen. And this was up close, personal, and demonic. If what those savages did to those families, that would make Satan very happy. That would make Hitler very happy too. That would make, if demons could laugh, they would laugh at that. And that's what these people did. And a ceasefire's out of the question. You need to wipe out Hamas. The war crimes, that's interesting too, because that gets brought up. Where the war crimes are being committed are when you put people in rooms with your military weapons that you're launching against a sovereign nation, which they're doing. Where their headquarters, what's left of their leadership or their offices, they're keeping these civilians, these hostages there. There's hundreds of Americans in Gaza they won't let leave. The Hamas will not let them leave because they're doing exactly what they want to do. They want to wipe out Jewish people all over the world. They definitely want to wipe out Israel. They want to kill the infidel. By the way, that's you listening. And all these LGBTQ for Palestine. Oh, God help you. You probably don't even believe in God. But yeah, the things they would do to you, they would do. They would kill you before they kill me. They would kill moderate or Muslims or what I would say normal people first because they don't agree with their ideology. They want to kill everybody, but they also want to get the emotions up high, which is what they're doing right now. You can't even send them aid because Hamas is there and everyone with guns inside the Gaza Strip is Hamas. And they're not they're not bringing it in for their people. That aid's not going to humanitarian reasons. It's going for propaganda. It's going to fuel their, here's one. You notice they call it resistance? Basically, for the past, I don't know how many years, resistance is code word for we're a bunch of fucking idiots. Basically, that's it, too. This is not resistance. This is straight terrorism. This is straight Satanism. This is Nazism. And resistance is part of it. So anyone that's out there yelling, this isn't resistance. Tearing down posters of kidnapped babies is not resistance. First of all, if you're an American doing that, God, this is a lot what happens when we raise professional victims. You're a victim, and you deserve everything, but you can't work for it. It should just be given to you. And that's what we're getting now. This is raising weakness and then resistance. Oh, I don't like the results, so I'm going to resist. # resist. The Democrats did that the entire time President Trump was in office. Remember the time that those idiotic members of Congress from the left put on those scarves that weren't even associated with whatever, and took a knee in the, the Capitol. Bunch of puds. We need to get into that, too, because talk about a place that needs to have it be unplugged and rebooted and term limits and get the fuck out of here. That place, both sides. I mean, are you kidding me with some of the shit they're pulling? So that's that there. I don't even know where I was going with this, but the ceasefire is not going to happen. They need to crush Hamas. The only way to crush Hamas is to go in there and crush them. They have to do. Rescue the hostages is going to be a really, really tough one because they're strapped to wherever you want to go. The tunnels are there, they're booby-trapped. Israel knows that. Israel's got great special forces, great hostage rescue. I was asked on my Instagram account, should Navy SEALs be there on the ground? Now, technically, if we have one American hostage by a terrorist group, we should send SEAL Team 6 or Delta Force in there to get them. Our hostage rescue team's in there to get them. They should be there right now. However, because of how complex this is, we need to let Israel take the lead. Fortunately, Israel can do that. They are good enough to do that. And we as American Special Forces we're ready for it because we're experienced. Now we have the woke shit going on in the military and the depletion of our readiness. We do have people who are ready to go fuck people up. That's because of experience. That's because of the wars we fought that took so long, and war is just great training, it turns out. So we got guys that are ready. Yes, they should be there to advise and assist. I was asked also what's the difference between combat troops and non-combat troops. So they got a couple strike forces over there, a couple carrier battle groups, ships, people on the ground, intel folks. Not necessarily infantry. That can be there. That can change in no time because you got Marines, some places over there, but they're there. Mainly you want to support because the hardest part of doing hostage rescue is the intelligence, and you need to be on the ground. But a ceasefire is not going to fucking work. You need to wipe them out completely. Sometimes you reap what you sow. And like it or not, Palestine, the Palestinians elected Hamas. And they've got a very high approval rating. And it sucks. Man, it sucks. And again, the video's coming out. I despise war. I hate it. I've been to it. And kids getting hurt, kids getting killed. It breaks my heart. Innocent people, even being scared bothers me. I don't like that, let alone being killed. This is going to happen, though, and you got to get rid of it. And then you got to figure, where is the leadership for Hamas? Well, they're over in another tough one. They're over in Qatar, over in Doha. That's where the Taliban goes to. That's where we negotiated. That's where we're negotiating the release of their prisoners and the release of our prisoners. Then we end up, for some reason, giving them money, billions. The Taliban, Iran, whatever. I mean, even the way that we allow Iran, and I said that we can do that because we should be the only superpower. I'm not sure we are, even a superpower, based on the $33 trillion in debt and the $2 trillion a year in interest. It's going to fuck you, by the way. And when I talk about politicians, too, I want you to think, and I think I said this on the last episode, don't think about what it's doing now and the popular thing now. How is this going to affect your kids in 25 years? Because these politicians are going to be long gone, thank God. I hope they're not replaced with new shitheads. But based on what I'm seeing in a lot of the schools and universities, they will. But, you know, what they're doing now, how's it going to affect us? We can control how much oil that Iran sells to China, but we don't. And we give them money back, and then Iran needs to go. Not the Iranian people, but the mullahs. The mullahs have been a pain in the dick since 1979. And yes, there's been bad deals everywhere. That's the way the governments all over the place work. The everything from the lockdown to the World Health Organization to the World Economic Forum. Basically, the people who can afford private jets to go to Davos and eat shrimp and steaks, Wagyu beef, and bone-in ribeyes while they tell you that cow farts are ruining the universe and you need to eat bugs. They're good. They don't need to. They can fly in their private jets and, bring Greta What's-Her-Name, take advantage of an autistic kid and let her yell, "How dare you?" There's shady shit going on everywhere, and there's a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse everywhere, and worldwide governments suck. The people of Iran are tired of it too. How do you wipe out the mullahs without hurting the people? Well, and again, with shitty politicians. There have been points in time where the Iranian people, and I'm convinced, to get a load of this, because I talk liberals and true liberals, liberal Muslims are going to be the ones to help. The liberal young Muslims in Pakistan are going to be the ones to help. The young Muslim liberals in Iran, whatever they call it, Iran, they're going to help us out. It's the goddamn clerics that are the problem. It's the damn leaders of Hamas, the billionaires that are Hamas leaders, that they became billionaires because they took this foreign aid through a ceasefire and they lined their pockets. And they're going to live in Dubai. They're going to live in Doha, Qatar. They're going to, you think Zelensky's going to chill out in Kiev whenever this long war that we're funding? No, he's going to go to Miami and live with the rest of the fat cats, oligarchs. You think he's not keeping the money we send him? They're bad people. But what I'm saying is we got to get rid of the bad people. So the end result for Hamas right now needs to get wiped out. That you got to stop Iran. They're doing everything anywhere. They're funding everyone. If they're funding the Houthis out of Yemen, they're funding Hamas, who's Sunni. They're funding Hezbollah in the north. They're funding proxies that are shooting missiles at our ship. You know, they said one of our Navy ships shot down those missiles too. You know that our Navy's not always they're not always at war ready. And for a ship to shoot down missiles, it's war ready. They're like that now. What is that telling you? China's moving. I was asked in the comments, is China going to invade Taiwan before the next election? You're damn right they will. Now, I could be wrong, and I want to be wrong, and I want to hear from you. I was wrong about Ukraine getting invaded by Russia. I was like, there's no way in hell they would do that, and they did. Putin made a huge mistake. But now they're there, and everyone's making money off it. Not everyone. Not the people dying on the ground. That's horrific, but someone's making money off this. And then everything, like with the media's got a slant. I don't know what their deal is, but they're going to tell you the bad stuff. America's always bad to look around the globe, and then you're bad for thinking. And even the guys that yell at, sometimes I get yelled at. People like my friend Carl Higbee get yelled at for some of the views we take against people that are supporting, not supporting. I mean, I get it. We don't want to lose people on both sides, but they yell at guys like us and call us Nazis. It's like, we would be the ones defending you. We're trying to do the right thing for you. If we get invaded by China on the West Coast, you think some hipster from Portland's going to fight? No, they're the first collaborators. They're that dickhead politician's son in Red Dawn that told a told the Russians and the Cubans where the Wolverines are. Great fucking movie. And on that too, with what the media is telling you to try to stay calm, don't worry about it. We got you. I mean, you got to realize by now the government does not got you. Not only do they not got you, they don't got your interests in mind. And please don't correct my grammar. I like to think I have a grasp on. I think the other day on TV, though, I was trying to say we have our foot on your neck, but during the middle of it, I was saying, I wanted to say foot on your necks, but then as I'm saying this, because I like to think my mind works fast. Sometimes it doesn't work at all, but sometimes it works fast. I wanted to say foot on your necks, but I realized foot on your necks needs to be plural. So instead of saying our feet are on your necks, I said our foots are on your necks. And then I'm live TV. I can't take it back. So foots are on your neck. Anyway, I was English joke, grammar, but they don't really have your best interest in mind. They're going to tell you everything's fine because at the end result, they want you living in the city and dependent on them, the media, the government. You will own nothing and you will be happy. We'll get into that crap too. Man, there's so much to do, and I didn't even take a lot of notes this time. Maybe that's why this podcast today is such fire. But no, I got a couple notes here. But they're telling you everything's going to be fine. But with the way we're shipping money everywhere to countries that hate us too. If you've seen the travel warnings, look at the dotted map where our State Department is telling us not to go. Pretty much everywhere. There are places everywhere you shouldn't go because they don't like you, but we are paying everyone. But the way we're printing money and making money worthless, the inflation that's rising, and have you noticed how expensive it is at the grocery store, essentials and whatnot, and gas prices? Boy, they're up. That affects everything. Being in a farmland, Iowa, Ohio, all that stuff, and the talking to farmers and the prices of everything, the gas price going up, they get you everything, and that's going up. And the way that it's being run right now with some of these children in suits in D.C., we are basically on the brink of an economic meltdown. And that is threatening you. It's threatening your family, your savings and retirement. Inflation, like I mentioned before, has surged to a 40-year high. You budget carefully for each trip to the grocery store, but it's always a wallet-pinching experience. I talked about gas prices. They've doubled since 2020. And your monthly bills are escalating. Inflation is an evil, silent force that eats away at purchasing power and ultimately your ability to save for your retirement. Do not let this happen to you. Protect your retirement with my friends at Allegiance Gold. Alex, Mark, and the team will take time to help you understand your options and make the best decision for your future. Whether your goal is to own physical gold or protect your IRA or 401k, the professionals at Allegiance Gold are ready to help. They've earned the highest trust ratings in the precious metals industry and have built relationships based on integrity, expertise, and impeccable service. So here's a great website to go check out, protectwiththeoperator.com. Go to protectwiththeoperator.com today or call 844-790-9191 and get up to $5,000 in free silver on a qualifying purchase. Don't wait. Protect your future now with Allegiance Gold. Again, that is protectwiththeoperator.com or call them at 844-790-9191. Allegiance Gold at 844-790-9191. But again, I promised I'd be short because I'm going to do another podcast Friday. So 67 will come out Friday. I might interview someone, I might not. A lot of stuff to cover, though. Let's get into stuff, too, like the foreign aid that we give to people. I was asked, I'm going to get into some questions right now. Somebody asked me if we're going to get help from Jordan and Egypt on this, which we could. Think of how many countries are in the world that are Islamic countries, and zero of them want to take in Palestinian refugees. We'd want to. Our government, people like Rashida Tlaib and the Squad and those, whatever, they want to bring in 1 million Palestinians here because that's awesome. But no Muslim countries want to take them. Think about that. We'll talk about that on Friday, too. Give me your thoughts on that. But I want to talk, too, about all the countries we're giving aid to that don't help us. Like Jordan and Egypt, man. We give Jordan $1.72 billion a year, and we give Egypt $1.46 billion a year. The fuck are they doing other than telling us they're not taking Palestinians? They could stop this shit, too. They're not innocent. I mean, we had the Abraham Accords that were a different. That's another good episode too. We need to talk about between Israel, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia was involved, which is a partner over there too. Like it or not, people have their interests. Some partners will help. Saudi Arabia hates Iran for obvious reasons not because of religion, it's because of man's perception of religion, and that's why we kill each other. Man's perception of religion is the leading cause of death in the history of mankind. So a lot of stuff to talk about there on Friday. I'm not getting into that bullshit right now because I'll be honest, I don't feel like it. Today's going to be a great day. It's Wednesday. The sun's out. Got to get a workout in. It's going to be fun trying to decide what to get for lunch, late lunch or dinner. Haven't decided because I've already been snacking. I told you I had a handful of these nuts. They were delicious. But here's a few of the questions I got. And keep those coming too. Remember, at the Operator Podcast, because at Mikuya, although I love you, it is restricted. I will email Meta today and ask them WTF, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, Oscar for over. But here's some questions. Jessica Cash, I just actually saw her last week in Iowa. She said she's dating the real Tommy O. He's a great dude too. I'll get him back on here. Can we defuse with Jordan in Egypt? Yes, that's the answer. I just said we could. Here's a good one. Now, because I was asked about people I know and people I don't know. Amber Miller, at Amber Miller 9. She's actually the woman who helped me with the Armed Forces Brewing Company videos that we made a couple years ago. She's awesome. Follow her too. She's got a great account. She's a kick-ass influencer and just a damn nice person. She said, "Who's the coolest person I know?" and be truthful. I know what you're getting at, Amber. You are cool. Shout out to you. Who's the coolest person though? Okay, you're up there. We'll give you that, Amber. You know what's fun? The coolest person. Okay, there's two right now that come to mind. Again, not in my notes, but I am reading the comments. Tony La Russa is awesome, and he's the baseball guy. He's just cool as hell. I ran into him when Tiny was my bodyguard, and he was standing behind. I never met Tony before. He's standing behind me with a margarita, and I look at him. He snuck up behind me. I got security. Security didn't see him. And I look at Tiny. I'm like, Tiny, have you met Tony? And he goes, hey, I'm Brian. Everyone calls me Tiny. And Tony took a sip of his margarita and goes, everybody's full of shit. He also gave me good advice. He said, because I've thrown out the first pitch. I did it in front of him in Arizona and hit the dirt. I did it at Wrigley Field, hit the dirt. I finally got it over the plate in Boston at Fenway because Tony said, look, no one's ever been booed for throwing it over the catcher. Great, solid advice. Great dude. Another cool guy I got to mention too is Tom Garfinkel. He's a CEO of the Miami Dolphins. Very cool dude. I met him at a young president's organization thing when he was working with running the San Diego Padres. And he was at my wedding. I talked to him all the time. I went to the Super Bowl with him a couple years back, and just some of the conversations we had as two dudes that don't have a lot of rhythm. We talked about what it must be like to be in studio with a bunch of dudes recording like mixing stuff and doing R&B type shit because they got to be cool. And just the two of us discussing it's almost like we can appreciate how good someone is in the NBA, but I can't play with them. Which brings me to another question. Someone asked me if pimping ever gets easy. Come on, man. Everybody know that Big Dick B. Somebody's got to do it. Pimping ain't easy. Big Daddy Kane, speaking of cool people. I never met him, but I'd like to. So that was cool. Is Israel losing the PR war? Yes, they are. How does it affect the conflict? Well, right now we're in a world of media, social media, and people overreact to stuff that might not be real, might be fake news, or you get fact checkers who might not be fact checkers. But yeah, Israel's losing right now for some reason. A lot of people don't like them. I don't get it. A lot of people are denying that any of that stuff happened. But yeah, the PR war is bad. That's from 10X Sean, SHAWN. One of my favorite follows on Instagram is one old goat, _old_ goat. And an old goat to me is Navy, like the goat locker. He asked me if I still have time to hunt elk. I haven't been elk hunting in a while, but I'm going to go next year. If anyone's listening that knows a kick-ass place I can go, because I want to go elk hunting. I do love Montana, but I'll go where there's elk. And I don't give a shit if it's the high fence in Texas. If there's elk there, I will go because elk are awesome and they are delicious. So that's it. Do we need to send Navy SEALs to rescue hostages? Yes, we do. American hostages are there, and we need to stop being tactical patience. That's fine. We need guys on the ground to go get them with Israel, with Delta, with Navy SEALs. Like I said, 600 Americans are being blocked in Gaza right now, and a ceasefire is not going to help. They won't let them go. And you'll notice the media, when they say about Gaza and Hamas, they say the U.S. designated terror group. They need to watch those fucking videos. U.S. designated. Eat it. James Thornton Photography asked about my weapon loadout. I'm assuming that's for the Bin Laden raid. I carried 5.56. I carried a certain weapon, but we've redone that weapon with Watchtower Firearms. So if you want to know what I was carrying, Watchtower Firearms is the place to go. Check them out. They're badass. Great guns. The Nizros down there, and they got, this isn't even an ad. They're just kick ass. Watchtower Firearms. Duncan Wright said, are Europeans aware of Islamization, the takeover? I don't know. That's a good question. And I don't think it's necessarily fair because most people are good. But, man, there's some wild people getting in certain places because of open borders, ourselves included. And that's a thing where you can keep your head in the sand long enough, but once it's there, how did we get here? That's a problem. Again, politicians. Weak-ass politicians who are trying to pretend they're apologizing for stuff that happened a long, long time ago. They're going to be fine, but you're not. Not again, not with Islam, but with bad people with bad intentions coming to your country. You see it a lot. They're crossing our border. It's going to happen here. Will there be an attack here? Oh, yeah, there will. I'm not going to say I told you so, but you'll know. Will the war be fought here? Another question I get that asked a lot. What are special forces doing on standby? They're doing exactly what they do. They're waiting for a contingency. Right now it's there. And, if I could do anything to help the men and women that are involved with everything from intel gathering to the tip of the spear type stuff, they're there. The sleep, eat, and lift is for the acronym SEAL. When you're on standby, sleep, eat, and lift. And I've been asked if the raid that we did on Bin Laden is better than trying to get into with a ground assault. I mean, yeah, but you got to know where you're going. How do you know where you're going? It's tough because unlike Jerusalem, unlike Israel, where they let everyone in, they won't let you in there. And I've been there and I've seen these people face to face. I've never learned about that part of the world from some dickhead leftist Marxist professor at a university. I've just been there. So I've seen it straight up, and I have my opinion on that. But we don't really know what's going on in Gaza. There's some Israelis smarter than me. There's a lot of ways to do it. I was asked also about tactics, techniques, procedures. Is there NDAs, non-disclosures that I've signed that I don't talk about? Yeah, I have. And the stuff that I can't talk about. Well, two things about stuff I can't talk about. One, it's not interesting. Smarter people came up with it. I don't understand it. And two, the stuff that is tactical, I won't bring it up. I like to talk about the humanity of everything and the people there. I was asked, what's a normal day like for SEAL Team 6? It's standard. I mean, the only thing at SEAL Team 6 that was different than a normal team is we don't have organized PT in the morning. You do what you do, and kind of in an age where you know what you need to do to be better. So here's the assets, and hopefully you can do it. Big boy rules, and I hope we can still do that. Could Israel defeat Iran? Oh, yeah. Israel could take over that part of the world. They just don't. That's how you can tell they're the good guys. So if you don't like it, sign the petition and go act in a movie. Nothing but love for Hollywood. Not all Hollywood, but a lot of them. There are people in Hollywood, too, that I know I would get along with. You know who I would get along with is Joy Behar. Guarantee I would get along with her. That's why you don't want to judge people by the Instagram. A question I got was, is there anyone that you've met that you thought you would not like? And I have an answer for that. No kidding. And I was just on Piers Morgan's show. Piers Morgan, by the way, fantastic dude. I'm actually, his book is called Wake Up, and I read it, and it's awesome. I read it twice, actually, and here's a cup. Wake Up, great book. Piers is awesome. I knew I would like him. The person that I was on his show with the other day is Louise Mensch, and she's a former conservative member of Parliament in the UK, an author. And I didn't think I would like her because she was mean to me on Twitter, and I was mean back. And I met her a couple of months ago. Fantastic woman. Great personality. Very smart. I was impressed because we were debating something with the Ukraine. She knows a lot. She knows like names and stuff. It was funny because she was saying stuff about me on Twitter, and I'd respond, and Twitter fights. And then we both agreed, going through a rough time in life, had too many cocktails, dancing on tables. My bad. Now we're buddies. I didn't think I would like her because whatever, Twitter. But again, people in person, she's fantastic. Louise is great. Giving her a shout out. Let's see. What would I tell young kids trying to be a SEAL? Do more pull-ups and keep it simple. Don't run in boots. You don't need to. They'll do plenty of that for you. Just because you think someone's better than you doesn't mean they are. And just because someone you think is tough quits doesn't mean you're not tough. That's my advice as a SEAL. What would I, what's my favorite MRE? I was asked that. Beef stew, dude. Easily. Because it got the, everybody knows it has the jalapeno cheese in it. And you mix the beef stew with the cheese. Crumple up the crackers. It went from the normal crackers to the vegetable crackers, which I disagree with. But if you take the beef stew and then the cheese, and obviously pick it up and don't waste it, and put the crackers in, stir it up, salt and pepper, hot sauce. I'm not saying which one, because you should all be using Rob O'Neal's Top Secret Hot Sauce. It's on Amazon, NBD. Try it. It's delicious. And we did pipe that down a little. It's not the super asshole puckering initial edition. We did sell out of that, but the new one's great. Anyway, you make that up, and then it's also got the vanilla pound cake. And they're saying it has peanut butter. I think it was either peanut butter or cheese. Hit me up on that, too, on the Operator Podcast. Peanut butter or cheese. I'm a cheese guy. Peanut butter, fine. Protein, get it, but the cheese, baby. And then it's got Skittles in it, too, which sugar's good for energy or whatever. A lot of people don't like sugar, but a lot of people aren't vegetarians, and for some weird reason they started making vegetarian MREs. You can kiss my ass. That's all I have to say about that. Let's see. We talked about China. Coolest person talked about that. My favorite saying in the teams was, I think I was a big fan of the safety things, like giving a brief saying nobody outranks safety. But I think my favorite one was train like you train. Because you always say train like you fight, and we never thought a war would happen. So we were like, hey, train like you train, and then boom, we're in a fight. So train like you train, but train like you fight. What would I tell if I had a son? What advice would I give my son? And this is simple. I love keeping it simple, master the basics. My favorite advice for my son would be ask her out. That's it. Take the shot, dude. I'm sure you've heard me mention that before. Take the shot. Right now. Right now. Think about this. What are you doing right now? And you're questioning yourself. Take the shot, man. If it's a call you need to make, if it's someone you need to see, if it's a compliment you need to give someone, take the shot. That's my advice. 2 more. Someone said they want a book signed by me, and I will. If you go to RJO Apparel, rjoapparel.com, or it's in my link tree next to this podcast. It's on at Makuya. It's on at the Operator Podcast. There's also at RJO Apparel. Follow that. I will sign a book for you personally, and within reason, I will sign the most clever shit you say. If it's offensive or something I don't like, I'll reword it, but I'll get it to you. If it's offensive, fine. Just if it's not appropriate, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Overseas, what was my favorite car I acquired? Probably a donkey. We stole a donkey for the Army-Navy game. And then we didn't know how to get rid of it. We stole the donkey from out in town and couldn't get rid of it, so we gave it to the Seabees. And their big complaint is it kept shitting in their house. Well, I mean, donkeys are going to do that, bro. Why you got a donkey in your house? Oh, that's right. We put it in there. Someone said Mr. Ballin, who's awesome, said there are giants in Afghanistan. Is that true? Probably. Afghanistan, man, I don't recommend going there. If you have a chance, don't, but there's some wild shit there that if you've never been, you wouldn't believe me. Afghanistan's fucking crazy. Are there giants? Maybe. I'm pretty sure I saw a snow leopard once there. And it's just bad. Afghanistan is so backwards. I think they're the only country in the world that their time zone is ahead of you, plus 30 minutes, which is the most fucking backwards you can get away from anything. But I don't have the Taliban's number, but I'll call them if I can and ask them why. I don't plan on going back there. What's my favorite Halloween candy? That's a tough one. You know what I want to talk? Not my favorite, because I dig some chocolate, man. I like chocolate. Ooh, just something about nougat gives me an erection. But the 2 Halloween candies I want to talk about. Overrated, underrated. Overrated is fucking licorice. I don't get it. And who, if you like black licorice, please tell me. I'm calling you out. Black licorice. Hamas probably eats that shit. But you know who gets a bad rap is candy corn. I think candy corn's awesome. You can do whatever you want. Pop in a handful, a little bit, bite at a time. I think candy corn's good. Maybe you hate it. Tell me that, please. And then one more. This cracked me up because I'm a big fan of Would you rather? Have you ever done the would you? I mean, they've gotten out of line with the would you rather. They used to be really funny. My favorite too. I'm not insulting anyone. I've never met this guy, but I think he's great, and I want to meet him. I've had messages and whatnot. One of my would you rather, if you haven't heard them, they're worth looking up if you're killing time. Somebody said, would you rather grill bear fists or fist bear grills? Food for thought. But what Billy Call asked me, at billy.kaul, asked, and this has been out there before, would I rather fight an orangutan once a year or a chicken every time I got in a car? I don't think... I got to go with the chicken. I mean, anytime you're fighting an animal, it's going to be tough because they have a will to live, a lot of them. Someone said, would you rather eat a talking chicken or a talking cow? Another one to think about. But as far as the orangutan, and I've seen stuff about orangutans and primates, and I've heard guys say that, like MMA guys, and I'm not talking shit about technical fighters. Believe me, I know some tough men, and I know women that can kick my ass. And, jiu-jitsu is a superpower, not talking shit about anyone. But I heard some MMA guys say that they could beat up an orangutan. No, you can't. An orangutan? You're out of your fucking mind. I'm fighting the chicken. What are you going to fight? Yeah. I don't get in cars very much. I don't have a car. But I guess I do get in. Does that include cars like to pick me up? Shit. Fighting a chicken. Every time you get in a car, that's like 3 or 4 a day. That's a lot of chickens to fight. Can you eat them? So that's my question. If you could eat a chicken that talks or a cow that talks, would you rather? Stuff like that. But that's going to be all for today. We're going to do another one Friday. Please let me know what you think. Get in the comments. And if you follow at the Operator Podcast on Instagram, you're never out of the fight.